Hello, everybody. I'm Toby Shifsky, and this is Real Expert, Kaplan Real Estate Education, bringing you experts within the industry. And today we have building a lucrative Airbnb vacation blueprint. That's our topic today. Talk about a hot topic with vacation rentals kind of going off the charts, especially even during COVID. We're going to find from our guests two experts in this industry who themselves have experienced quite a boom even during COVID as last year's sales outperformed the year before. I want to go ahead and just start right away by introducing them because this is a huge topic. And just so everybody knows, we got about 30 minutes to get through this. And frankly, with Jessica and Jason here today with us, we could do at least a full day, if not 2 full days. As a matter of fact, these guys actually have a training program and they're sharing a little bit with us here today. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Jessica and Jason Palliser. And I'm going to go ahead and give a little bio on Jessica because she's kind of got this trajectory happening that I'm very excited about. Jessica has settled into her favorite type of real estate investment after doing traditional real estate for years. Like a lot of us here, Jason and Jessica, a lot of real estate professionals on here today. Some people brand new, some people have been in the industry for 30 years. So, and for Jessica, her seeing the demand for alternative housing solutions for travelers, Jess dove headfirst into her favorite niche, which was vacation rentals. Who doesn't like vacation rentals, right? Her listings are second to none. The attention to detail that sets her apart from competition, where she has been awarded super host status time and time again. So what this means is she's really good at presenting these vacation rental properties to people, right? And she can navigate the spaces like a pro, and that's positioned her as an expert and countless clients, and has been asked to create Airbnb Blueprint, which they're going to cover a little bit for us today. So, so that, you have a chance to kind of feel a little bit and see a little bit of how they do their vacation properties, right? So, I tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and jump into Jason because Jason's also very interesting and is her husband. And as Jason will say, Jessica, she's kind of the brains behind the making sure everything works, and Jason is the kind of the glue that makes sure that everything's being executed. So, and Jason's a professional teacher, as a matter of fact. He's been teaching real estate for over 20 years, everybody. Jason has impacted over 25,000 investors nationwide. He's performed virtually every type of real estate transaction from flips to rentals. Alongside his wife, he has fallen in love with vacation rentals. So now we've got this super team here with us today, frankly, right? He's built and sold a real estate automation software company that is used by some of the largest companies in America today. So he knows the importance of systems and processes as it pertains to running a successful vacation rental business. So you're going to understand, guys, as we go through this today, how a lot of this can be automated. There can be a lot of hands off if you want. You pay a fee, and we're going to talk about that. But this is what they do, right? He teaches 32 ways to grab off-market properties nationally, and now always looks to do vacation rental first. So how about that? His entire business now is, I'm looking at properties to do it first versus any other type of real estate strategy. So they're going to be bringing this knowledge to us today. We've got 30 minutes. I don't want to fool around because this literally could be and is days worth of education. And we're going to give everybody a little something today. So Jess, do you like Jess? Is Jess okay or is Jessica better?
Jess is great.
Jess is great. So Jess and Jason, here's what I'd like to do. Say hi to everybody. We've got almost 239 participants on. I'm sure that's going to climb even more as we go in. But I wanted to be able to ask you guys a question. And before I do that, because I know you're ready, we've talked a little bit before the presentation, everybody. But I wanted to ask the people that we have on here. We have 240 participants right now. I want to ask you guys a question. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this screen so that we're big front and center now. And don't worry, everybody, you're going to get Jessica and Jason's email at the end of this again, because they have some resources for you. And we're going to share a resource for you at the end. If you want to email them, you can contact them. And Jessica has agreed to share a glimpse of her blueprint with you just by emailing her at the end of this. But here's what I'd like to do. Participants, 240 participants. I want to ask you guys a question. You're going to do a polling question. I'm going to put up a poll. You answer as quickly as you can. And here's our first poll. This is the chance for you guys to play along. And here we go. So first question coming out to you is, do you own any vacation rental properties yet? Go ahead and answer on the screen. Click. It's coming in. They're piling in. Oh, we got a clear winner right now. Holy smokes. One is just running away with it. So question A, number one, I have a pile of them. B, I have several. Or, I have one. Or I don't have any yet. And I think we're going to find that that I don't have any yet is really going to be the clear winner here today. But we got a couple on here who have several. In fact, there's more than a couple. There's 10, 11, 12 now. All right. A couple more seconds and I'll go ahead and share this poll. You'll all get to see the results. This is all anonymous, by the way. We don't share your name with anybody or anything like that. So go ahead and answer these real quick. This will give us an indication of who we have on and kind of the target audience for today. All right. So let's go ahead and we're going to end the poll. And I'm going to broadcast the results. All right. Can everybody see those? Look at this. Do you own any vacation rental properties? I have a pile of them. There are no tycoons on here. So Jessica and Jason, you are it. You are the experts. I have several. Look at that. We got 16 people who have more than one. I have one. We've got 33 people who are operating vacation rental. This is fantastic. Look at this. We have about 68, maybe 70% of the people say, I don't have any yet, but I'm interested and I'm here. All right. So let's go ahead and jump into it. I want to make sure we get a bunch of really good information out to these people. All right. So Jessica, Jason, you can see here we have a little smattering of different people. Nobody's got a pile of them. We got a couple people with several. We got a bunch with one, and we got a pile of people who want to have to build and they want to build an empire. So let's start with this. The big question I think on everybody's mind is, why a vacation rental versus a traditional rental property? Why?
Well, I'll start by saying, and then Jess, you can jump in on top of this here, but if you start running the numbers correctly and you evaluate a traditional rental versus a Airbnb vacation rental, you'll find, depends on area, but 3 to 4 times the rent if you identify a good one. Meaning, why wouldn't you want to have 5 rental properties or 4 rental properties or 3 rental properties for the price of one? And that's just one reason, is just the revenue model. There's some other reasons why. What would you say?
One of the biggest things that I like is that you don't have a tenant that moves in. So you have somebody that moves in for a year. You don't know what they're doing with your property necessarily. They're hanging things on the wall. They may change your paint color. With Airbnb, you have cleaners and maintenance in there constantly. So your property is in pristine condition.
Yeah. So real time, like one of the big things for us is real time. People are coming and going and real time what your property condition is. Because when somebody moves in, they might not clean for the entire year that they're there. So that's yet another reason that we like the Airbnb model as well.
So let me back up a question. So this is part of my role, and everybody, you can ask your questions. Participants, ask your questions in the chat. They're moderated because we get hundreds of questions, of course, and so the ones that are similar will be boiled up to us, which will be great. But I'm going to play the role of the participant here, and I'm going to say, well, wait a second now. You say that it can be 2, 3, 4 times typical rent. How is that? How does that work? I mean, how come why is it? I mean, how do you even determine what that rent would be? How do you determine when you're buying a property what it would be? Because I mean, there's got to be some calculations here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's one of the things that we do up front before we buy any property. I always do the good old fashioned hand calculations. So I go on Airbnb.com and I look in the area and I see, okay, what's everybody else doing? What do their numbers look like? What are their cleaning fees? What are they booking per night? Does that make sense for this property I'm about to buy? So I do that the old fashioned way. And there are also a couple of websites that are really great too. One of them is airdna.co. And then the other is Mashvisor.
Mash, I'm going to mash potatoes, Mashvisor.
Mashvisor. Yeah. So those are a couple of really great websites that you can log in and you can go to your area. It pulls resources. Say you have a 3-bed, 2-bath, you can say, okay, the ones in this area are renting for this per night. seasonality rates, availability. So they pull in all of that stuff, and you can look right up front and see what it looks like.
Yeah. And so what she means by that is that for everybody that's listening and taking notes, traveling, teaching, all this stuff, we both, when we talk to clients, are like, it's like cheating. Like, can you imagine saying, I might want to buy a Airbnb or a property for Airbnb and going to airdna.co and Mashvisor, and it tells you for your area, hey, there's 132 homes. Out of those 132, let's say yours is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. There's 49 3-bedrooms, 2 baths. They rent out for 70% of the month at $295 a night. It's so you can just 70% of the month, 21 days times $295, and you see it's 3 to 4 times the rent. It makes it almost a no-brainer to write a contract on the property. It's insane.
Yeah. So you're saying that these tools, there's tools like I love it, Jessica. I love you say I'm old school. I like to do the numbers. I think really what you're saying is you got to evaluate the property, right? And but it's a different lens. When you're going for a vacation rental, you got to put the vacation rental hat on, right? Mm-hmm. And use the resources available. So it's not the local MLS, multiple listing services. It's not, your cachet of typically sold homes. You're going to see what that market is, which is the Airbnb, VRBO market. And the tools that you're using are airdna.co and mashvisor.com. I think we put the Michelle Auger, our producer here, everybody, she put it into the text chat. Everybody should be able to see that. So understanding that you have this resource that tells you what the average nightly fee is and income, and then what the availability is, meaning what the vacancy rates are compared to, usage rates, I guess is what you would call it, right? And so, and then you just do the math.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. And I always do numbers on the conservative side. So say it's 70% booking booking rate, I'll put it at 60 just to make sure that those margins work, for any kind of oopsie year. So we're always running conservative, and it still is well above anything you'd make just as a landlord.
So that's called the booking rate. So for everybody, that's we may call it vacancy rate on regular traditional, but it's called the booking rate when it comes to Airbnb. And it really is. It's about the research, right? It's just about doing the numbers and understanding what's available in your area. And then I would imagine for any individual property, you got to understand some of the dynamics about where that property is, and some of the amenities, which we're going to talk a little bit about. But I got one really good question on here. Hanson says, one of the participants says, margins are 4 to 5 times higher, but what about risk, volatility, week to week on a 12-month lease? I know I have rent every month, right? How do you reconcile that?
That's where, I'll jump into that. So that's where the evaluation up front, that's why these websites are critical when we're crunching numbers to evaluate whether an asset works well or not. We don't assume that it's going to be. So I agree with what Hanson said from this standpoint. We agree that we don't think it's going to be rented out 30 days out of 30 days, right? So that's where we go in and look at the percentages. Some areas it's rented out 25% of the time, then it's still double the rent, right? So 75% of the month, the property's open. The areas that we do it in are 60, 70%. So we already know it's going to be vacant for a certain amount of time, right?
I think the keys are, there are tools here to tell you what's happening in your area. Right? I mean, there are tools available. The data is good. You're finding it being reliable, and you can make some assumptions. Now, you like everything, location is key, the amenities, and then really how you're presenting it too, how you're taking care of it, how you're making it exciting and enticing for people to want to actually rent it out from you.
Well, and as Jess always says, and she said it earlier today, you also evaluated it. Hey, if it's not renting out Airbnb or vacation rental wise or the way that we want, am I still going to be good to go if I just switch it over to a rental? So we always evaluate it from that standpoint as well. So
you do plan A, vacation, plan B. Hey, does it work as a typical rental?
Yeah.
Correct.
In fact, let's talk a little bit more about why you would. I call these kind of the pros, as in the what's the pros for it. You did say one thing before too, Jessica, and it was people aren't anchoring in when you have an Airbnb or a vacation rental. And I think that's an interesting point, because I have investment properties, typical, and you're right. When you call anchoring in, I think of anchoring in like anchoring, meaning they're actually anchoring like nails and drilled into your wall because they're hanging family pictures, and they're going to be, and they anchor into a property. That's not what happens in vacation rentals, right?
No, nope, absolutely not. No, you have everything already on the wall.
Yeah. So in a vacation rental, they're not staying there to move in and make it home for an extended amount of time, right? So they're not putting their pictures on the wall. They're not moving in. And when you move into a property as a traditional rental, you don't know how often they clean. So what we really do like about the model is that we know real time when somebody's checking in, checking out. Our cleaners tell us, hey, the house looks good, we're just getting it clean. Oh, hey, there's a hole in the wall, and we have somebody's credit card on file to get it fixed. So we know the condition of the property real time, which we really love.
Yep. Their cleaners check inventory. Hey, this is missing. Hey, if this got broken, then that's paid for through Airbnb.
Love it. So it's being spot checked all the time.
All the time.
And any damage is being immediately covered.
Yep. Every check time.
Unlike that really difficult conversation sometimes you have to have with a traditional tenant that says, listen, you got to pony up more money because you just burned through your damage deposit, and how are you going to do that? For you, not only is it a damage deposit, $500 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Are there other assurances through some of these booking agencies like Airbnb, and is there additional coverage you get with that too that covers that?
Mm-hmm. Yep, there is. Yep. Yeah. So I usually do a $500 damage deposit just on top of it, and I've never had any kind of issue with that. But then Airbnb, they have $1 million policy, and they're very good. They're very responsive.
Yeah. So you have coverage through the booking sites, because quite frankly, they get a little percentage of your booking, right? So they've also put in place some other things to help protect you because they are using your house to make money, right? Just like you are on the vacation model side. So they also give you some coverages as well, which is nice.
Awesome. So what I hear is it's spot checked all the time, right?
Yep.
And damage is paid for immediately, right? It's cleaned all the time.
Yeah.
Awesome. And you know what's happening in the property, right? It's not like somebody's setting up this is going to sound really clandestine, but like a meth lab in the basement. You know what's happening in the property, right?
Yeah.
You haven't had one of those yet, right? Yeah.
Okay. Right.
No.
One of the other biggest things that we absolutely love about the vacation rental too, you have a property that you rent out for a year, you can't go stay at that. Somebody's moved in. So we have some in St. Louis. We have them down in Florida. We're looking at actually getting some out in Colorado because we love going skiing. Skiing, snowboarding, but we differentiate. Okay.
Yeah.
Just kidding. But we're able to, we go up to St. Louis monthly. We're able to book that.
Your own place. You just book it and cover, move in. It's all cleaned and it's
yeah. So another sex appeal is that you can block out as the vacation rental owner, you can block out dates where you want to visit if you do it in other cities and you have a place to stay, right? And it's blocked out, no one else can book it. So like she said, we're evaluating Colorado. I like Nashville. And so we're going to be doing that.
And you treat these as investment properties, right? And so these are investment tools, any of the deductions, any of that thing. I'm going to imagine that there's some limitations on how often you can visit or how long for investment properties, but that would be something people would deal with their accountant with, right?
Yeah. Just talk to the CPA. Yes.
Yeah. Right on. I did have a question that came up. Is it difficult to get homeowners insurance for a property that's exclusively vacation rental?
Yeah, I would say this, and then in today's world, insurance companies are just evaluating those differently because this model is not going away. Yep. So they just view it a little bit differently. Your premium, I would tell you, and again, I'm just stabbing in the dark off the top of my head, but your premium's probably versus a normal rental insurance policy, is probably going to be 20 or 30% higher. And I always joke and tell everybody that's, depending on what area you got your bookings in, that's just one calendar day's booking out of an entire year covers that extra 20 to 30% premium. So there are fewer that do it, but there are several that will do it. So I just want everybody to have a level of comfort on that. And they're just viewing it differently, right?
Yeah. Totally got it. Okay. Go ahead, Jessica. Go.
There are several that are specific for investment properties too, because they are so popular. They even have monthly payment for some of those insurance ones. So it's definitely something that you can shop around for.
Absolutely.
They're there.
So what I heard is you're going to pay more, 20% more for Airbnb.
Yeah, and you budget for that, right?
Yeah, so you're really $2,400 a year. You're going to spend an extra $400, something.
Yeah, and it's again just one night's booking for a lot of most properties, right? And then covered. Yeah.
Got it. Okay, so those are the pros, right? You can make more money. You can use it yourself for your own vacation, for your own visiting. Check with your accountant how that works, right? The property never degrades because you are constantly getting the fixes done and paid for by those people who are doing it. And you don't have the anchoring that happens on a regular property.
Yep.
Love it. The cons or challenges, I would say, for this. So because I know, like I just went and visited to Palm Desert, last year, and it was really hard to find a VRBO Airbnb because the cities are putting a limit on the minimum amount of stay time, trying to almost slow down this Airbnb market. I mean, how does that all work? How does that play in this? What kind of a challenge is that, especially somebody who's evaluating a property? It would seem to me this is something you're going to want to check, right?
Yep.
Yeah, we do that up front before we ever buy a property. As we dive into the area, so we look at the county, see if there's any rules at the county level, then all the way down to the subdivision level, and we check on that.
And the HOAs. So.
Homeowners Association, big deal, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Some of them say, hey, you can only do a 30-day rental. So you evaluate the property as a 30-day rental, right?
Right.
Down here in Florida, that's a no-brainer. Snowbirds come down, and what we can produce in 2, 3, 4 months of the snowbird time frame covers well over what a traditional rental would be. And now we have 6 months out of the year to sprinkle in some other guests if we need to. But you evaluate up front for your area if it works or not. And again, as Jess always says, that is the reason why we also evaluate every property as a traditional rental. If somebody changes the rules, then we'll rent it out. And
Right.
and quite frankly, if you decide not to do it anymore because of some rule change, the beauty of a vacation rental is that it's already staged. All you gotta do is take some pictures and put it on the market, and there you
If you
go.
want to move it, it's all clean. All the damage has been fixed. Everything's, All right.
Yeah.
Right. All right. Before we move on, I'm going to ask the kind of follow-up question, just so people kind of are playing along with it. Everybody, this is your chance to participate. We're going to go ahead and throw this up on the board with 267 people on. Let's see how many people we get to actually do this. All right. So question number 2, and we've covered this information. This should be an easy one for everybody, but let's see what we think, because some opinions may not be changed. How much more rent can you make per month with vacation rentals than traditional rentals? Right? Answer number 1, you make a little less because they're mostly rented out only on the weekends. You can make about the same if you're lucky. That we answer number 2. Answer number 3, you can make a little more in the right area. And answer number 4, you can make 2 to 3 times more when done right. I think we might have even heard a bigger number than that, but pick which one you still are thinking. We'll see who's been converted and who hasn't yet. All right. Look at that. We got well over 130, 140 people. All right. Look at that. I'm going to move to the poll. What was that, Jason? Go ahead.
I need to speak to those 2 individuals that answered 2. It's only rented on the weekends, because that's funny. And I'm glad you're here educating yourself. Now we have 3 of you, right? We were just at dinner last night, and my beautiful wife here holds her phone up to me and she goes, hey, look, we just filled a gap Tuesday through Friday. So it doesn't just get booked on the weekends, my friend.
Nice. All right. I'm going to end the poll. Let's talk about that real quick. I'm going to share the results with everybody.
Somebody changed their mind. All right. We changed.
Yeah. No, overwhelmingly clear. You can make 2 to 3 times, and you can make a little more, and you can make about the same. But for sure, everybody, here are the results. But for sure, it's not just rented on the weekends, is it? It's rented a lot. In fact, you were telling me before that 2020 ended up being a fantastic year for you. Why? What's the draw for VRBO, Airbnb versus traditional hotel? What's happening there? What's happened? Because I think you were talking about
here. Yeah, I can answer
families.
So we had last year, when COVID hit, right? So we had a lot of cancellations, and then I sprouted some more gray hair, and I think you sprouted one or two, right? We're like, oh yeah, I know. Yeah. And so what happened is everybody was nervous. Nobody wanted to travel, but after about a 3-week to 4-week breather, all those cancellations, we literally just booked right back up because people are choosing to stay in their own self-contained unit versus going in elevators and touching the buttons like everybody else does. So we actually had a better year revenue-wise than we've ever had in 2020. And we even have, when people are trying to book with us and we're going back and forth, Jess has responded to them. They're like, yeah, we'd rather just stay somewhere where it's our family by ourselves. So
yeah.
It was a home
I don't think that's going away anytime soon. Hey, in a matter of interest of time, I'm going to move on to the next topic because everybody says, all right. Because this is the rub, right? When you have rental properties, you're the landlord, you're getting the phone call, you're handling all that, right? And that's one of the reasons why, people like, I want an anchor tenant. I want somebody in for 5 years. I don't have to deal with them. They understand. But now vacation rentals, that's like every day somebody's calling you and wanting to book. I mean, how does that work? And then let's talk a little bit about the fees. How much hands-on is it, or how much hands-off is it as far as managing a vacation rental property?
And that's really actually all up to you. So initially we moved down to Florida and we had one up in St. Louis. And we had Evolve manage it, and that was a 10% fee. So that was
Evolve. That's a management company. Evolve. Okay.
And that's just one of the several companies that do, but they were only at 10%, and I was.
So they take 10% of the booking fee.
Yep.
Right? So if it's $300 a night, they're getting $30.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so here, and I'll expand on that a little bit and jump in. Feel free. So you can manage it yourself and save those fees and do it yourself, accept the bookings, send the check-in info, and manage your cleaner. Or you can, there's companies out there that'll do all of that for you. So if you're listening here and learning today, what we want you to know and understand, and again, we could send you info when we're done, like you said, but you can have other companies do it for 10 to 20%. Okay. And so they can do all of that stuff for you so that your quality of life doesn't change because mentally you're like, oh gosh, I'm going to field all this stuff. What you have to understand is these booking platforms like a VRBO, Airbnb, they have things put in place when you're putting your listing up originally. Hey, what email do you want to go out to guests and stuff? So they have some efficiencies put in there, but quite frankly, you can have management companies do it for you if you want. I always tell everybody, if you're getting started, manage it on your own at first, and then make an intelligent decision to have somebody else do it, because now you know and you can intelligently hand it off. That's the best policy for me. And if you do it yourself, then the fees are minimal. Like what's their Airbnb charge for helping you get bookings?
Oh, it's just a 3% platform fee.
And what's VRBO?
VRBO, I believe, is at 8%.
So at a minimum, if you manage it yourself, you can manage it yourself and just be at 3% or 8% and keep the lion's share of that money. But as you get more, you're probably going to want a management company to help handle that for you. And when you're making 2 to 3 to 4 times the rent, it's easy to do.
And I've done both as well. So that one up there, I had Evolve managed because it was a remote. And then the ones down here, I actually just personally, I really enjoy managing them, talking to clients. We've met people from all over the States. So we've made friends with some of our guests. So I really enjoy that aspect too. But we've done both. It really just depends what you want for your.
So let me give it back to you real quick then. So just make sure we're clear for everybody. So there's these booking apps like Airbnb, VRBO. Airbnb charges the 3% off the top. That's how they get paid. And then you could manage it yourself from there. So you could qualify the buyer, the tenant, you could do all the communication, or you can hire a management company. And a management company is going to take anywhere from 10 to 20%, depending on what you have, of the overall fee. And it sounds like those platforms are set up to automate so that if you set up a cleaning service, right? Because we haven't even talked about the old dreaded cleaning fees, but the cleaning service could be automatically contacted by the booking company or by your management company if they're running it all through the whole thing. And so you literally could do a full hands-off, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Jess has it set up to where when she accepts a booking request and it blocks out those dates through the platforms that they book through, it sends them a confirmation, but it also sends our cleaner dates. So the cleaner knows that the person's checking out at 11, they're there at 12, and they have it ready to go by 3 o'clock, just in case you have a same day turnover at 4 o'clock. So it's, folks, it is really down to a science. Yeah.
So here's the really interesting thing for you people in real estate too. So what if you have clients who you want to move into investment properties? Do you think they would be enticed by an Airbnb or VRBO, vacation rental investment properties, that you could tell them, listen, there's a way to set this up. It's all hands off. It's your money. It's going in, but it's essentially could be almost 100% hands off if you wanted it to be. And the money is such that it pays for the fees, and your property is going to cash flow, get in the right area, do your analysis like Jessica does, right? Make sure it works. Plan A, vacation rental. Plan B, a typical rental. Plan C, hey, we need to sell it, but it's already staged. It's already in great shape, right? I mean, talk about a powerful tool to go to clients who maybe are investors. You know that we did have a couple questions. We're going to wrap up in just a couple seconds. It's gone so fast, and we didn't even get to the list of like the, you know, what to look for in a tenant, right? Somebody who's going to be a guest at your property. What are the red flags to not take? What are vacation rental success non-negotiables? Meaning, how do you actually stage your property? You guys, everybody, Jessica does a wonderful piece on how to actually stage the property. Like, I didn't know the importance of having, you know, 2 types of coffee makers, from a Keurig cup, thing to, and you got to have a coffee pot.
Got to have a coffee pot too. Yes.
So many questions on that you would not believe.
You would not believe it.
What kind of coffee maker do you?
So have? we have a list of things that are going to be staples for you that help people book for sure.
Awesome. Well, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to have to wrap it up, but I'm going to put up the kind of the closing screen. Everybody, all the guests, all the participants, their email address is on there. I think it's Allied Jess. What is it again? I think it was that one.
Allied Jess @gmail.
Allied Jess. And so look for it on this screen when we go ahead and wrap up. Send an email. They'll send you a kind of a neat little condensed list of kind of the do's and don'ts and how to prep and stage. It's kind of a fun piece. And once again, this is what these guys do for a living. I can't thank you both enough. It's been awesome. And I know one thing is my wife wants to watch this later. So I'm excited for her too. So what a great topic. It's been lovely to get to know you. Thank you everybody for attending. Take care.
See you. Bye.